just left about an hour ago. They're headed to a concert right now, so we bought them a dinner and stuff, and hung out for a bit. So that was fun.
Nice.
Now you're having the issues, unless I'm having issues hearing you.
You guys can hear me fine, right? Let me check.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, now it's better. Might have been on my end. You were breaking up a little bit earlier.
Okay. I promise not to do that. I never break up.
And our relationship drags on forever.
Red's like my tumor. Awesome. Hey, welcome everybody today. Season 1, episode 19. The juicy alpha with the two big dogs, AJ and Jake from the L1 Dex team. That is kind of hard to say, but I'll get used to it. So welcome, guys. Good to have you here, and the rest of the team as well.
Yes,
and the community.
Absolutely. Thanks for being great. Thanks for having us.
It's easier if you say L1 Dex on L1X flows.
You're trying to get me Sally selling seashells by the seashore type of stuff. L1 Dex on L1X. Yeah, no, that's pretty smooth. Okay, so I don't know. Do you guys want to wait just a couple of minutes, kick it off, or tell a joke? How's everybody's weather? Is everybody dealing with that oppressively hot day today? I'm in Minnesota, and it's still 94 degrees here, so it's a scorcher.
Same here.
Yes.
Oh, AJ, it's hot 100% of the time down there, except for like maybe 2 days out of the year, right?
We're used to it down here, man. It was like 108 with the heat index today. So, but yeah.
I think, to be fair, because you're probably used to it, I want you to turn your AC off this entire week, and then when you get on the AMA, we'll see if you're ornery or not.
Yeah. I don't think we can survive without central air, but for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I just went to all modular setup, so like a unit in every room. It's the way to go. But anyway, why don't we kick this off? We got the limited time. Like always, this is never longer than an hour. We want to get you in, get what you need, and get you on your way, starting your day or ending your day. So, welcome to everybody that's here in the community, the team that's on the stage. We got the L1X team here. We got Jory, Chief Spark, the L1 Dex team, obviously, Jake and AJ. And so I think we're going to do these guys are going to kind of do their thing and do that deep dive dance on the L1 Dex on L1X tonight.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
no, we're excited.
Okay, man. I don't know who wants to kick it off, but just jump on in.
Yeah, let's kick it off with Joriento. We have some contests that wrapped up and some new quests and gleam contests, I believe, and the new quiz starting for another run for 2 weeks.
Good point, Red. What's up, Joe?
So we have a few things. Good morning, everybody, and you'll be happy to know it's winter on my end of the planet, so it's quite cool. But I'm Celsius, so I have no idea what your Fahrenheit temperatures are. So I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's probably like a spring day though for you Aussies. So
a nice mild 35.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So I just because I don't want to take away too much time from the guys, because I know you've got heaps of exciting stuff to talk about. So we did conclude our current gleam. So I've got a list of winners. I won't go through everybody because that we'll be here literally all day. But let's just quickly crack on the top 4. We had Malik, K, Harry, and Crazy RJ take out the top spot for 250 L1X coins each. So huge congrats to them. Some of these guys must have put the effort in to really rack up points on Gleam, because there were people there with like over 500 points, which is just out of control. Given that it was like one point per each engagement, for some stuff, and I think the most you could get was 50 for a YouTube video. So to get, over 500 is an absolute effort, and I think a lot of it has to come from actually getting other people to play the Gleam game as well. So massive effort from them. Just strolling through tabs here to try and get all the right information, so just bear with me one sec. We also had a heap of winners too from our Zealies, from our sprints. In the channel, in the winners update channel, you can check in there. You would have been tagged, but same again. There's so many people that put the effort in there, so I won't go through and read out everybody because it'll take up most of this. But what we do have coming up, just to segue into the new things, we do have a treasure hunt coming towards the end of this week. We also do have a new Gleam, which will be education based. And I believe we have another sprint as well coming, which all this will be posted in the Discord. We'll have more information coming out. Really exciting stuff. We're trying to angle towards getting everybody involved and engaged in more so than just a shill the wares type thing where it's reshare or whatever, but more so you have to go on sort of the deep dive educational learn, find out stuff from the white paper on, what was the 15th letter on the 77th page of the, things like this, so that you have to do a bit of investigative work and also keep your eyes peeled as things start to come online with the actual blockchain side. We might hide gems inside transactions, all sorts of weird
treasure.
Yeah, treasure hunting, exactly. So we've got that coming up. Where between myself and Sam and Red and James as well. I know you guys don't necessarily see too much of James on the front end. Putting together just bits and pieces and little nuggets for people to find along the way, so that we can get people as involved as possible inside the whole journey and understanding exactly how the blockchain will work and how the system itself works, so that we can really, just like we talked about yesterday on the Twitter AMA, be a part of the ecosystem from the very beginning. So they are coming up and things to be excited for. And that's basically a wrap from my end.
Nice, you smashed it, bro.
Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. So you guys want to kick it off to do your deep dive dance right now?
Yeah, we can kick things off with the Dex for sure. And if anybody has questions too, by the way, make sure you type them. We're gonna get to some questions at the end. But first of all, a quick introduction. I'm AJ. I'm the team lead over at EMP. We are longtime L1X supporters. And Jake, go ahead and introduce yourself, bro.
Yeah, appreciate the short intro there. I'm Jake, for those of you who don't know me, CEO at Dex Finance. Obviously, supporters of L1X since the beginning as well, and longtime buddies with AJ. Happy to be building this here together.
Totally, and we again have had a long, successful history in crypto. Not only in our projects, respectively, EMP and Dex Finance, but also in the communities that we built. And we were given an amazing opportunity through L1X and the relationships that we have to build the Dex. And that's kind of what has brought us to where we are. Go ahead, Machu.
Yeah, I just thought I'd add to it. Thanks, Jake and AJ, for jumping on. I think we've been working just for the community that are here, and obviously listen to the recording as well. We've been working really closely with Jake, AJ, and their teams, and in terms of the Dex, the features that they're building. We've almost had the front seat on their development. We're having a look at some of their mock-ups, and we have a really good idea of what they want to build and where they're going to go. And we're really excited actually to have a Dex like this that these guys are building, to be able to showcase to the DeFi community and what's possible. And when you put a really good team on building on Layer 1X and leveraging its features. So, we're excited to hear from you guys today, and we appreciate everything, all the work that we've kind of done together over the last few months to get to this point.
Yeah, absolutely, Spark. I could not agree more. It's been a pleasure working with you guys again. You, the whole team, Mike, and obviously Kevin with the tech. I mean, again, when we first started our conversations about building this revolutionary Dex, the tech is what makes it so special, and the interoperability, the cross-chain swapping seamlessly through the DEX, and I think that we have finally, again, I'll let the man of the hour, Jake, give the details here because he's a lot more on the tech side of building the DEX out. But we're excited. We think that we've come up with some really creative solutions utilizing the L1X tech. And all this, again, will be just a high-level overview of what the DEX will be. And then after this AMA, hopefully later this week, we'll have a white paper, or a light paper, rather, out as well. So, I mean, I guess, Jake, I'll throw it over to you to begin with. Maybe, again, just give a little bit of background of, you guys have built DEXs, revolutionary DEXs with your platform and your vaults, but how we're kind of transitioning all your background and your expertise in building this into the L1X tech and what L1 Dex will be.
Yeah, of course. In fact, I was just about to mention. I think one of the things that makes this whole collaboration, really unique and special, is just the melting pot of skill sets here. As you guys mentioned, our side is handling, some more of the tech side from the Dex perspective. Of course, with hand in hand with Kevin on the L1X side. Really great to meet equals in that regard, and people that share the same passion for this type of thing. And then obviously AJ's extensive history in DeFi and multiple successful long running projects, all the way down to the L1X guys who are doing everything by the book. Everything from Chief writing 120 page white papers to Spark traveling the globe to get in front of the most important people in the communities and getting everything done. Just been a pleasure to work with everyone. And also I think that creates better things, right? It stimulates everyone in the group. I guess
I remember.
Yeah,
I'll just jump there. I remember a conversation that we had with Chief and I had with Jake. I've known AJ for a long time. I remember a conversation earlier in the year when we had with Jake when we were looking at this Dex and looking for teams. And when we spoke to Jake and the vision that he had around the Dex, the user experience, the features that it would do, I remember Chief and I getting off that call going, okay, yeah, these guys are the guys. They're going to build something pretty extraordinary. They're going to honor the tech, and they're going to, create something pretty special. So, yeah, just to kind of give a little bit of a background on the journey here, and that's where it kind of started from there. And be able for Jake to have that vision right at the beginning was really excited for us to then work with him to bring it to this point.
Definitely, man. Honestly, it's been a lot of conversations like that. I guess to just give you a little bit deeper background on myself and DexFi. We take a little bit different approach than maybe other protocols do. We've had all kinds of different tokens and different ideas, but especially as of late, we've really slimmed everything down. We don't want any inflation. It's just building core products that bring in real yield revenue. We built a really interesting vault system that has automated take profit and non-custodial ETFs that auto balance as well. We just launched a Dex per se, but again, it's not. We actually work with other Dexes too because we're not really competition with anybody. It's more just we're trying to build features and build on top of our own ecosystem to really provide the best products. But actually, speaking of conversations, maybe that's a good segue. I don't want to bore people too much with kind of our backgrounds. I feel like a good chunk of people have heard us speak a few times. But I wanted to kind of start getting into a little bit of the architecture of the Dex itself, right? We've kind of hinted at different features, and I think people know now that the overall look and feel. We want this to be fully decentralized, but have some of the features from centralized exchanges, easy onboarding and things like that. We've talked kind of at length in the past, but I'd like to kind of dive into now that we've been through all these chats and like I said, as a segue, one of the conversations we had in Austin, sitting with Spark and Chief. It was literally at a round table, and we had like napkins out and little coffee little milk things out and sugar packets, and we're like, okay, this and this. So I'd like to kind of go through some of that with you guys now, if that's okay. We had a lot of different discussions about, even up until last month when we were figuring out, what kind of tech is this running on. I mean, of course, there's the L1X tech that's the engine behind it, but what are we going to build on top of it to get the desired results, right? And throughout that process, learning back and forth, what's even possible with this, we came up with a really cool system that really intertwines different features from a lot of different dexes and some new stuff that we're building on top. So I guess let's start at the bottom and work our way up. One of the most important things that we've kind of skirted around, and I think you guys maybe teased it a little bit in the new white paper. Essentially, we've talked about this engineering layer, right? And it's kind of been abstract up until now. But what this really means is that at the core, even below L1 Dex, right, the very bottom of the pyramid here, the tower, let's call it, there lives this liquidity, right? Essentially, we've found a way to create like a highly modified balancer LP. And this can fit up to like 50 tokens, right? So as we expand, we can keep putting all the L1s into this LP, this massive LP, right? As a user, right? There's been a lot of questions about rewards and how we're going to offer these, amazing APR on blue chips, right? And it starts at this base layer, right? If you have separate LPs for each token, one, you need a lot more liquidity. There's more impermanent loss, right? The balancer pools, it's essentially going to be one big giant balancer pool that's going to have all of the L1s that you'll be able to swap interoperable with. All the cross-chain swaps will happen within this one LP. It's more efficient because it's always balancing. There's less impermanent loss, right? And you need less liquidity essentially to facilitate the same amount of volume. So right off the bat, we're already ahead of the game, right? By decreasing the amount of liquidity we need for the amount of volume that we can put out, right? Now this LP now lives at the bottom of the chain, right? So it lives on L1X. It's all actually wrapped versions of these tokens, of all the L1 tokens, right? And basically, people can access this through the L1 Dex. So as a user, you're welcome to come right to L1 Dex. You can provide liquidity, receive rewards in L1X, right? Obviously, use the swaps and all this, right? But then we take it a layer up where we want to provide this same service, this engineering layer, to everybody else, on all the other chains. So the next layer up basically are all these different chains with all these other partner dexes that we can partner with in order to not only provide more volume and liquidity, but also get the awareness out, right? Because you may only use Uniswap or ArborDex or one exchange or the other, so you may not even know about this. It's a really, really good grassroots campaign. But through this mechanism, essentially what you'll be able to do is each partner Dex will have their own SDK where they can get a white labeled version basically of L1 Dex or features of the L1 Dex. Those users can then deposit liquidity through that partner Dex all the way down through L1 Dex and then into the main liquidity pool. So what happens is you could potentially have hundreds of partner Dexes all giving the same message, the same these same feature sets to all their people, and then all that liquidity is funneling down to one single point in this LP. We'll go through a lot. I know it's probably tough to get your head around this just by me talking about it, but we'll have more documentation and flow charts and all this coming out very soon. But if you can just imagine this what's basically going to become the largest flywheel in crypto. Essentially, every single DEX will be able to have access to this, and it's such an easy sell because they're going to be able to provide a tunnel through from the native chains all the way through L1, L1X, L1 Dex, and then back out to another native chain at a fraction of the speed and a fraction of the cost all at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and one thing Jake touched on a little bit, again, everybody, I'm monitoring their questions a little bit while Jake is doing his thing, but obviously everybody wants to know about APY, liquidity providing rewards, and not only, through this SDK are we incentivizing these, partner dexes to come on board, but we're also incentivizing LP providers like all of you. So it'll be a three-way split between POL or protocol-owned liquidity, mercenary liquidity, which is all of you all providing liquidity on your own, and then tapping into the deep liquidity of these dexes, other dexes as well. So no other dex has been able to do this, and we are using L1X as the reward token, which is also very, very different. I mean, not only are we going to be providing the LP rewards on L1X, but eventually, with the volume that we hope to generate, even at a very conservative projection, we may even see the LP rewards, LP provider rewards going up as the volume increases, because we're working on a real yield system. And this is, again, revolutionary. In terms of a DEX, no other DEX is sharing their profits with their users. So, yeah, go ahead, Jake, if you want to elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, you actually bring up a really good point that I kind of glazed over there. And it relates to rewards and APR. So, again, the base layer, the engineering layer, all the liquidity lives on L1X. We have a runway, right? We have a runway of L1X tokens that we're gonna start with. Ultimately, we'll as we're generating real yields, we'll be always buying more L1X and selling those, giving those as rewards, throughout, right? And that goes all the way up the chain, right? So if you go to L1 Dex, you want to stake you want to participate in LP rewards, you just zap in your liquidity, you start earning L1X, right? But it goes up the chain, right? So if a partner Dex, let's say, installs this SDK and they offer the ability for their users to deposit into the L1X primary LP, right? The rewards still go from L1X, from the main liquidity pool. They funnel all the way up through us, up into up through the DEX, and then there's a big APR that essentially any user comes in will get that APR. Right? But one of the really cool features with this whole architecture is that the SDK actually allows for the partner DEXs to also add their own rewards on top, right? So this creates an opportunity for you all investors, right? Because let's say you want to get more rewards, or this DEX is adding on a bonus reward, right? You can take your pick to deposit your tokens to any DEX that you want, through any DEX that you want. And it also, like I said, it increases your APR, and the best part is it encourages these DEXs to promote the hell out of it, because they're going to be fighting for their piece of the partner DEX reward pool as well.
Yeah, 100%. So not only does it add deep liquidity, but it's also a marketing angle as well. And that will help with onboarding because, I've said this in our own community a lot. You can have the most badass, blockchain or badass project, but if you don't have users, that doesn't matter. And so we again are prioritizing, the adoption as well, and that's our role. Again, I mean, the beautiful part about this relationship of EMP and Dex finance is we all have our strengths, and so our side is the partnership side. Again, LA is also part of the team. She's here in the audience, but she and I are already going after these large dexes on multiple chains, and they're showing major interest because it's a win-win. There's no downside for these other dexes to get involved, and they can utilize their liquidity and get rewarded for it as well. So yeah, really exciting stuff, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, again, we have so many other things in store as well, but that is really the meat and potatoes of how the Dex will operate. And then we can branch out from there. But yeah, go ahead, Jake, or anybody else from L1X. If there's any questions in the meantime, again, I see a lot of great questions coming through. I did want to clarify. So with the actual reward token, again, was really key for us when building the Dex. We didn't want to have literally 99% of all other dexes use a made up reward token. So again, a great example is PancakeSwap with their Cake token. They reward all of their LP providers in Cake. Well, that token can be highly speculative. I mean, it's really only meant to be sold. Obviously, there's other staking opportunities with it, and I guess PancakeSwap will probably buy back that token over time to help support the price. But that's a very inefficient way of doing things, and we didn't want to do that, not only from an economic standpoint, but also from supporting the L1X token itself. By using the L1X token as the LP reward, that is going to be pure buying pressure on L1X over time through the rewards that, again, or the fees rather, that the Dex generates. So again, another win-win scenario where everybody's being rewarded in a token that they can actually use. Again, the L1X you get for providing liquidity, you can stake it, you can run a node, you can use it for gas fees. It actually has a utility other than, again, like a cake that's only meant to be sold. And all the fees are then funneled back in from the DEX to, again, real yield, meaning the more volume that the DEX does, the more potential rewards we're able to distribute, and the more L1X we're able to buy to distribute. So it's just a really awesome ecosystem, and again, flywheel is the buzzword. But yeah, no other Dex has been able to do what we think we can do moving forward. So yeah, awesome stuff. Go ahead, Jake. Or be great. Go ahead. Do you have a question?
Yeah, thanks, AJ. I was gonna say, like, if we look at a lot of these dexes, how they do operate, clearly they're functional. They're the base layer, if you will, for DeFi and all this to exist. But when I look at the L1 Dex, this is true democratized ownership of the value that passes through the Dex, proportional to what you hold. And so to me, like, that is suggestive that token is going to be extremely valuable when you look at it, and with it having the ability to be, for lack of a better term, the skeleton key that unlocks, trapped liquidity on all these different chains. I don't think any other DEX can make a claim like that, because by and large, every other DEX is siloed within within its change, and the ability to actually, increase, capital efficiency is what everybody is looking for. The ability to, participate in the true ownership of a DEX, because, we can all say, oh yeah, I'm part of the Bitcoin network, I'm an owner of that. Yeah, not really. But here, if you're talking about, like, what's the use case? If people think there will be sell pressure, sure, there'll be sell pressure, but when I look at buying and selling, I look at it and see, wow, that's a good opportunity for awareness to be built, right? If you have a ton of money flowing through a liquidity or through a project like L1 Dex, to me, that's just as powerful as a green candle, the ability to see how much money flows through and then start doing the calculations of, how is this going to benefit me? Where is it going to benefit me? And to have like you said, Jake, this huge pool underneath. I can see a lot of things, but I'm not going to sit here and speculate. I like the idea, and I always have for L1X, the idea of true democratized ownership, either of your data, but the value that you present, by bringing liquidity or whatever it is, to the network or to L1 Dex. So love it.
But I think that raises a good point too, and I still see some questions coming up in the chats here. There's a big difference between having one Dex on one chain that has to have, let's say 50 pairs, right? In order to get, 20 million in 30, 40, 50 million on a really good day, maybe on volume, right? So you're talking about 50, if you have 50 pairs at even, half a million each, that's a lot of liquidity you need for pairs that might only get traded 2 or 3 times a day, right? With L1 Dex, and kind of moving into some of the feature sets that we're going to have, during beta, we're really focused on the X-Talk tunnel, right? We want to focus. I mean, this is the strong point, right? Everyone wants to see a swap between AVAX and Matic in a snap of a finger for a couple pennies, right? We do this and we have no competition. But in order to get that result, right? Obviously, aside from all the tech and surrounding pieces, at the core, you don't need 50 pairs. We just need one massive balancer pool with let's say a couple million in it. So we could do 50 million in volume a day with only 3 million in volume, 3 million in liquidity, as opposed to needing 50 million in liquidity for only 20 million in volume. So the margin there are so much bigger, right? And in addition, we don't even have to do it all ourselves, because basically we're providing channels for essentially for every exchange, every exchange out there to provide these same services, right? And take part in the revenue sharing. So with all that extra exposure, we also get more liquidity, more volume, and it's not that we have to provide all these rewards for this exacerbated amount of liquidity that's not being utilized, right? Essentially, we can have our partner dexes helping to provide APR and liquidity and volume for with only the same structural need at the bottom of the base.
Yeah, 100%. And again, the balancer, I mean, it took us a while to kind of figure out the most efficient way to do this, and having that balancer pool. And again, just to backtrack a little bit, for those that may not know, I mean, typically DEXs operate under an AMM system, or an automated market maker, where you have 2 tokens that are paired, and that is the LP. Well, in a balancer pool, like Jake was saying, you can have up to 50 tokens in that pool, and it not only does it allow you to yield incredibly well, because typically if you're providing LP in, say, Ethereum and a stable token, you're lucky if you're getting like 3% APY a year. On a balancer pool, because there's always that fluctuation of the pool's trying to balance itself between all assets. We could see incredible APY even on just providing a stable token into that balancer pool. So again, this is really exciting, and based on some of the preliminary numbers that we have run, I think that we're going to attract a lot of eyeballs, because it could be the most lucrative place to provide liquidity in DeFi. And from a risk perspective, the only downside would be if one of those assets in that balancer pool drops significantly, it can potentially bring down the price of the other tokens in that pool. But we have the ability to code like circuit breakers, where it would just remove itself from that pool if it goes down by more than a certain percentage. So there's a lot of ways to avoid that as well. But it's exciting. I mean, again, this is all revolutionary tech, and we're kind of charting. We're going through uncharted territory. So the light paper should be able to kind of give everybody a little bit more of a detailed outline of what we're doing from a technical perspective. But I mean, what, Jake, you guys have already we have some alpha in some of our other chats. We already have the UI done. I mean, we're really a lot farther along, and hopefully, again, on beta launch, we have all of our ducks in a row ready to go. And I guess we can kind of talk about that a little bit. I know there was some concern about not being able to sell the L1X token, on beta, but we will be facilitating a P2P or peer-to-peer transaction platform for those that do have L1X. So you will still be able to utilize your rewards, even though you're not actually selling your L1X on the Dex until January. But really, it's not about selling. If you're thinking about selling L1X, you have a totally wrong mindset, in my opinion, because we're offering a ton of utility, not only through our L1 Dex, but nodes and other staking options really will allow you to earn even in the time that beta goes live, and beta will allow us to implement even more features. I mean, again, Dex Finance has revolutionary ETFs and vaults. We're hoping to incorporate those onto the engineering layer. We've been in talks, again, I don't know what I'm allowed to say and not say, but we've even been talking about borrowing and lending. So again, there's a lot in the works, but go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, I think just to kind of go through the checklist of what will be available for beta. Like I said, obviously the core functionality of the swap, the XTalk, all those things will for sure be available. You will be able to stake liquidity, and again, that is it looks like there's still some confusion in the chat about what staking options will be available. And I guess just to clarify this quick before we move on, there will be several options, right? You will have the ability to just purely stake in the nodes. That'll be an option. You have to find that. We'll also provide some of that as well. But that's a single stake in the nodes, right? For the Dex liquidity, again, we'll be launching with just this one single balancer pool. So you'll have to provide liquidity for that, right? We'll get some more updates on this soon, but you will be able to use your L1X if you were in the pre-sale earlier on, or if you purchase now, you will have the option to be able to use at least partially some of that L1X to provide liquidity for the Dex. Like I said, it will be going in a balancer pool with a whole bunch of other tokens. So, like I said, we'll provide some more information about that. But you will have the ability to to purchase LPs, stake them, earn L1X. You'll be able to use the interoperability, the swap, the cross chain stuff. All that'll be available at launch. The P2P trading is another thing we've been talking about. Again, AJ mentioned borrowing, lending. We want to really make sure we knock the first part out of the water, but again, having those couple extra months is actually really nice for us, because we can perfect all this stuff. For sure, by the time mainnet launch comes around, all of this stuff will be available to you in full in full swing. We're definitely bringing the vaults and ETFs and all that good stuff. You know, and I guess just circling back to the P2P stuff. You know, again, I don't want to get over ahead of ourselves too much, but I think this was a great decision by the team. And you know, I know there was a lot of this confusion about, you know, what's the price going to be, and can we buy or sell during this period, and how do we, you know, are we worried about a dump coming in January? And I can't stress enough. I think the P2P marketplace solves all of everyone's concerns, right? Number one, it allows us to give rewards in L1X and not have those keep piling up, so that, you know, if you do want to sell some of those to compound back in or take profit, right? All you have to do is hit the P2P market and you can get out, right? It also provides a way for newcomers coming in to be able to purchase without using an actual LP. So the price stays monitored and controlled, giving additional opportunities for, you know, later raises. You know, it really prevents that backup, that buildup of rewards coming out. In addition, like I said, it gives us the opportunity to keep buying more L1X tokens with our real yield, so that you know, we're also helping to stabilize the price at the same time.
Yeah, I love that. That was a great explanation, Jake. Because again, I don't think people are realizing the power that has. And there was one more thing too I wanted to mention. I know, unfortunately, it looked like Cryptonaut is not on the call tonight, but there's also some really exciting stuff through that we're going to be doing through the L1X wallet itself. So I know, again, with the swap, we're hoping to allow, you know, just MetaMask to be used. I think that will be huge to get people in the door. But everybody really needs to get excited about the L1X wallet, because moving forward, we will have way more features available in the Dex, as well as you know, other things that are purely L1X related through that wallet. So again, if you have access to the L1X Premium wallet on launch, definitely start using that. And you know, if you're a diehard MetaMask user, definitely start considering switching over to the wallet, because we'll have a lot more features with the Dex directly in that wallet. Again, the P2P is a perfect example. You know, you'll want to have the L1X wallet to capitalize on that. But it's also super bullish for volume. And again, I don't know what alpha I'm allowed to share or not, but I would say that there's going to be a lot of volume.
All of it,
Yeah.
I hear.
All right, good.
It was already voted on 100%. You're allowed to share everything.
All right, be great. Well, if I get in trouble, it's your fault. But we'll be able to route a lot of the wallet volume through the Dex. So meaning, again, you know, anybody using the wallet can seamlessly transact with the Dex, which does, again, wonders for the daily volume of our exchange. So yeah, again, there's just so much going on. It's hard to get it all covered in, you know, an hour AMA. Like I said, we will be releasing the light paper hopefully by the end of this week, if not early next week. And you know, the wireframe and Figma of the actual site is already up, and you know, we're making major headway. Again, we've been going all out, and the L1X guys have too. I mean, again, we're really using the first SDK, the standard developer kit, for L1X. So it's been exciting to, again, get all that pushed through, so that we can start utilizing this revolutionary tech.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. I think, you know, what you guys have talked about, and I think, Jake, you kind of went through those features that people will be able to kind of utilize as kind of mainnet beta rolls out through the Dex. I think it's pretty exciting. I think people will see that by having a balancer pool of blue chips and being able to earn a great APR in comparison to other blue chip APRs on other chains, I think it's really exciting. I think it's also just clear. I see some questions in the chat. Just to kind of be clear on fee generation, right? So you've got the Layer 1X protocol, and there's the gas fees when transacting on a Layer 1X protocol. Any applications building on Layer 1X also have their own fees that they'll apply for the service that they're providing. So with the fees that are generated by the DEX, every time a transaction or fees are generated there, it's generating fees at the protocol level, and it's generating any applicable fees at the application providing the service. So it's not the rewards coming from the DEX fees to the liquidity providers are not taking away from the protocol fees that are generated. Those are two separate fees that are being generated there. So it's not taking away from the stakers. If you're single staking on a node, then those fees that are generated through transactions, whether it be through the DEX, whether it be through gains, whether it be through any application on the L1X chain, they're generated at the protocol level, and those fees are distributed to the nodes, or those people staking on the nodes. The applications building on top of Layer 1X, any service fees they're charging, those fees are then distributed to the users of that application. I just want to make that clear. So people are talking about sell pressure, and I think just to kind of answer the sell pressure side of it, you've got there's a runway of tokens there that the DEX has. However, with the DEX, they will be actually funding their own rewards past that runway. So as liquidity comes in, as the volume generates, as they generate more fees, then they become self-sufficient in creating their own and buying L1X tokens to then distribute to those people staking liquidity. So that's how that works. Now, in the meantime, they're also adding an extra utility and stickiness to the L1X token by having the L1X token as part of the balancer pool. So not only can you single stake now, not only can you host your own node, not only can you participate in those two things, but now you can also participate with an L1X token into the balancer pool as well. So there's these extra utilities that are creating, this long-term mindset, which I think we've all mentioned on this call today, is that's the mindset you want to have when you look at the roadmap and you look what's going to be coming out through Layer 1X. Then it's these opportunities to be able to earn from participating in the DEX or participating in staking on the nodes, earn extra L1X coin, right, while this roadmap and the protocol kind of develops.
Yeah, no doubt, Spark. Don't be the Bitcoin pizza guy that spent $1 million buying a pizza. With Bitcoin, do you want to hold on to those L1X and have them earn for you? Again, not financial advice. Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's right. But interestingly enough, when we connect Bitcoin network, when we can connect the Bitcoin chain in the middle of next year, which is on the roadmap, that'll be very, very interesting in how that the impact on DeFi and also obviously in particular the balancer pool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, even more exposure to those blue chips. And like Machi was saying, I'm Spark. Sorry, I called him Machi. We go way back, so I'm allowed to do that. I ran out Spark. So yeah, I mean that again is one of the major benefits.
Well, I think everybody knows everybody's name here. Let's be real.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. So yeah, but there was one point I want to make too about the fees. We have a full spreadsheet and breakdown. I don't know if that will be actually in the light paper. It will be in the white paper, that's for sure. But there's actually 3 different fees. But even the 3 fees combined are less than what you would pay with any other swap in existence. So again, we not only are we going to be the most affordable, but we're also going to be the having the ability to swap without a bridge. I mean, it's a no-brainer, and that will drive adoption to the DEX. If we can offer a better mousetrap, that is what again drives utility, volume, users, all of the above. So yeah, again, Jake, I don't know if you're going to comment on the fees, but I think we're going to be again, Spark used a great word, self-sufficient when we finally get up and running.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we need to go into the exact details just yet, but I guess what I can say is that if you're I think some of the confusion here is you guys are looking at it the wrong way. We've seen the V3 models, and we've seen people try to just get away with just having real yields, and it's crappy APR, right? That's why everyone that does this also implements an inflationary token to go with it, right? It's the L1 Dex is much different in a lot of ways, but again, just to reiterate, one is we have this efficiency in capital with the LP, right? We need less liquidity for the same amount of volume, right? So for the people that are in that liquidity pool, we can offer more rewards, right? On top of that, with our partner dexes, right, we have the ability to let them offer additional rewards, right? So in theory, you can still get inflationary tokens from the partner dexes in excess amounts if they like to give them to you, all funneling back to the same liquidity, right? And they're doing that because they're going to get a piece of the rewards as well, right? And on top of that, we have a healthy runway that'll get us through, through the initial couple of years at least, that we'll be continually buying back. And Spark had a great rundown of that whole situation. But those three things combined, we feel really confident that that's more than enough to get us to self-sufficiency. And then honestly, on top of that, like that's just the the tip of the iceberg. One of the things that we've done really well with DexSwap, the exchange that we're operating now, is anti-bot protection, arbitration, additional liquidity pools, right? So not with DexSwap, but again, our focus right now is getting Xtalk working on L1 Dex, right? We need to show the world that this exists and it's the best thing since sliced bread, right? That doesn't mean once we go to mainnet, we can't offer concentrated liquidity for stables and different individual pools for specific pairs and different projects, right? Which then allows us to get into the aggregators and things like that. So there's going to be a whole culmination of revenue just pouring in, and quite frankly, we don't really need much liquidity to do this. At the end of the day, the APRs are really going to be determined by the market, right? We may have $100 million to give out, right? But if we make it so juicy that everyone runs in, then we're going to wind up with hundreds of millions in liquidity, and the APR is going to go down, right? So if we don't need that much liquidity because we're so efficient, we're just going to scale the rewards back, right? So ultimately, the market will dictate what the APR is, but we've given ourselves so many irons in the fire that we're really not too worried about keeping the flame going.
Totally. And another really cool thing, again, we're long-term vision here, not short-term vision. Over time, we can build, again, I mentioned earlier, our POL or protocol-owned liquidity. And then when that happens, then the deeper our protocol-owned liquidity is, that is just more, again, that the protocol itself can generate. And that is also more buying pressure on L1X because, we don't have to provide this the secondary pool of rewards. We're real yield. Again, that is what that means is that there is no inflationary token. It's purely based on volume, and by then we can have literally hundreds of millions of dollars a day in volume. Even a very, very small percentage of that in fees could be plenty of money to go around, and again, constant buying pressure on L1X indefinitely.
Agreed.
Yeah, guys, no, that's smashing it, and I assume you guys will be in the Discord channel to answer any questions as to wrap up anything that people asked now. I don't think people want to be here for 2 or 3 hours. I see somebody said that would be cool, but I don't think anybody wants that. And we do have some other stuff that we need to get to wrap this up. And so,
yeah, absolutely. Well, we're always around, and we have all of our socials are now up. Again, L1 Dex, you can follow on Twitter, Discord, we do our own. We're gonna start doing our own AMAs. We both do our own AMAs for our own protocols, but all of this is all happening simultaneously. So, and it's bullish for our individual protocols as well. So, all right, awesome. Thanks for the time, guys. And yeah, we'll let you wrap it up. Just appreciate the opportunity. I'll let Jake have the final word here, but it's been nothing but a pleasure, and we can't wait to get this out into the wild and show the entire DeFi world that we have built something absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot. We'll, like I said, we'll have some more out soon. I'd be remiss if we didn't give one more plug about the pre-sale. You can use our. I know you guys have your own here, but feel free to invest via L1Xpublicsale.io. You can come to any of our Discords and our Telegrams. We'll give you all the info you need.
Perfect. Awesome, guys. Smashed it. And like you said, you can make sure you follow their socials for the official juicy alpha that gets released, and head over to the channel to ask any questions that didn't get answered here. So those guys are going to be generous with their time and be in there to answer anything for you, anybody that needs it. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you being here.
I'll just mention as well. Thank you, Jake, AJ. I think it's great to have you guys on. We may even do another update again with the guys as it continues to progress. I appreciate you guys coming on. Also, just a note for the community: there is something, another pretty special announcement that we're releasing later on in the afternoon Perth time. So keep an eye out for our socials on that one as well. But yeah, no, it's great to have you guys on. Really appreciate your time, and excited about the L1 Dex and what it's going to do.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys. Exciting.
Thanks, brother.
Awesome, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Spark. Maybe this is a. Are you still there?
So you lost him.
He's maybe Mike. Oh, let me see. Is he?
Yeah, Sparks just jumped off.
He jumped off. Okay.
He's got another meeting on. So.
Okay. We did want to close it up, but Mike, can you answer any of these questions about the closing remarks for their requirement for nodes, validators, staking, hardware pricing, and availability to be released in August? Is there anything to share on that tonight or this morning?
Look, we are sharing information out there. It's probably better that people start reading it rather than giving a verbal version of that. The information's out there. We're making it available to inform people of
Okay, cool.